Are you ready?
Ready.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
You ready to bring it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you know the only rules to my class is that you don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Some of the things, of course, in Miracles say is going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be quite startling. And what you're looking for is the message for you today. And you're the only one who knows what that message is. But if you use the ideas in the Course in Miracles, you'll see that the ideas work. And the section that I'm going to cover today, or start covering, is called The Attraction of Love to Love. If you have the book, it's on page 233, and there's some loaner copies up here that you can use if you want to follow along with it. And there are two ways that I'm going to do it. First, I'm going to read it the way that it's written in the book, and then I'm going to give you the plain language version of what I just read, using the Course in Miracles definitions of the words. Okay, so the attraction of love to love. Now, the premise that's based in the Course is that that's all you are is love. And
Earl, can you
that all you are is love. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to knock over your deal. Do you mind grabbing us a book?
Yeah.
I'm going to clutter all.
So you are an unlimited spiritual being. Period. You're love. Period. That's the premise. You are love and you're an unlimited spiritual being. Period. You may not know that because of something you're telling yourself or something that you've learned. And also that your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs are creating your perception of reality, and it's creating your reality. So from a Course in Miracles standpoint, there are no victims.
Mm-hmm.
That we're unlimited spiritual beings having a human experience. And we get so caught up in what we're taught when we get here that we forget our true identity. And the main thing to recognize is that we are love. We are love, we are loving, and we are lovable. And everything that keeps us from recognizing that is what must be removed from our thinking. So instead of kind of like focusing in on how we're going to change the world and everything that's going on in the world, and in case you've noticed, there's some pretty interesting things going on in the world.
Right.
Then what we should be working on from a Course in Miracles perspective is our perception of it. So what we are responsible for is how we see it. And the Course teaches that there are only two ways to see things. You can look at things in such a way that it brings you peace, or you can look at things in such a way that brings you conflict. And if you learn how to look at things in such a way that you feel inner peace, then from that inner peace that you get, you can hear your own inner guidance from God or the higher power and know what to do in every situation. So each and every one of us are getting individual guidance all day long, all the time. And then people ask, well, why don't I hear it?
As long as you ask for it.
Well, you're getting it anyway. Now, whether you choose to listen to it or not is the issue. It's constantly communicating with you. But what happens is the Course says we listen to what we are telling ourselves. And that's what keeps us from hearing the voice of God inside of us, is that we're listening to the voice that we're making up, which is based on what we've learned since we've gotten here and our own personal experiences. And so once you allow yourself to have an interpretation of your experience that allows you to have peace, then you can hear the guidance that you're getting. So the purpose of the Course is to teach us how to interpret what's going on in our experience in such a way that we can maintain peace, our inner peace. And then from that inner peace, you can see more clearly about what to do from there. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm not here to prescribe behavior. I'm not here to tell people how to act or how to behave. What we're here for is to remove the blocks to the awareness of the presence of love and truth that's already in you. So it's an undoing process. And the section that we're covering today, the attraction of love to love, it starts out by saying, do you really believe that you can kill a child of God? Yeah. That's an interesting statement. That's what the section was that I pulled randomly to talk about today after the things that just have been going on. And the very first question is, do you really think you can kill an unlimited being? The Creator has hidden its creation safely within itself and kept its creation far away from your destructive thoughts. But you know neither the creation or the Creator because of your destructive thoughts. You attack the real world of love every day, every hour, and every minute, and yet you're surprised that you can't see the real world of love. If you seek love in order to attack love, you will never find love. If I look for love and then I attack what I think I love, I'll never find love. If I'm looking for love, but as soon as I find it, I attack it, I'll never find it. Because love is going to retreat. A loving being is not going to be seeking out, trying to hang out with, and trying to be with anybody that's attacking him or her. So if you're a loving being, you're not going in the direction of criticism, condemnation, judgment, or attack. The funny thing about it is that fearful minds believe that it's through criticism, judgment, condemnation, and attack that they get other people to do what they want them to do. So a fearful mind believes that the more I go off on you, the quicker you're going to act right. Anybody familiar with that process? The more I let you know how upset I am with you, then the more you're going to do what I want you to do. So a person who doesn't know the truth, they believe that the more upset and angry and attacking they are, then the more they're going to attract love. You know, I'm going to give you more love because you just made me feel so guilty that I'm going to try to treat you better. And so real love is sharing. And if love is sharing, how can you find love except through love? So if I'm going to find love, and love comes through sharing, how am I going to find love if I'm not sharing love? Now, many people who are fear-based, they do just the opposite. They claim they're going to give the love when the love shows up. So when you share love with me, then I'll share love with you. A conscious being knows that when I share love, love is going to be shared with me and love is going to come to me. Love is going to seek me out and find me when I meet the conditions of love. So if I'm a loving person, then loving people are going to seek me out.
Wow.
Because love recognizes love. I tell you, we make it hard. We make it harder than it has to be simply because of the programming that we've gotten in the past that teaches us that we're somehow guilty and sinful and unworthy. So in other words, if you grew up in any kind of religion or spiritual belief that taught you that you were guilty and sinful, then there's a core belief in you being somehow inherently flawed and that you were born that way.
Right.
And so because you have a core belief in your sinfulness and your guiltiness, then you attract things to you that validate the belief that you have about yourself, and so you believe it's true. So if I think there's something about me that's not loving, then I'm going to get that validated in my experience by drawing to me perceptions of experiences and circumstances where it looks like I'm not loved, which makes me believe I'm right. Okay, so if you've got a core belief that you're not a loving being and that you're a guilty, sinful being, then you're going to get that validated in your perception. Now here's the thing that's a trip. The way you think about yourself does not affect who you are. The way you think about yourself does not affect who you are. I could think I'm weak, I could think I'm guilty, I can think I'm alone, I can think I'm not loved by my Creator, but the truth is I am. No matter what your child thinks about him or herself, does not necessarily affect the way you feel about your child. So the way you feel about yourself has nothing to do with who you really are and what you really are. You are love, you are spirit, you are powerful, you are unlimited. Now, if you don't think that, it doesn't affect the fact that you still are that way. You know, I could think I'm not black, but okay, so what I am cannot be affected by what I think. But what I see is a direct result of what I think. So what I see is a result of what I think, but what I think is not affecting who I really am. Everybody with me on that? So what I'm here to remind us of is that you are loving, you are lovable, and you are loved, and there's nothing you can do to change that. That's just what you are. And if you want love, love only comes through sharing love. And another word for love is freedom.
Yes.
Another word for love is freedom.
Word.
Which is just the opposite of what we usually want to give to anybody that we say we love. They're the last ones to get the freedom. It's the person, like the chorus would say, we're really saying, would you like to be in prison and have a really good time while you're there? Would you like to be in prison and get some good loving, but you better not get outside the jail cell? We get rocket behind these prison walls, I'm telling you. And it's called my condo. It's the fancy prison house. So the Course in Miracles is saying to me that love, so I want to use the true definition of love. Love is freedom. And love is not freedom, it's not freedom of the body.
Right.
Because there's no such thing as freedom of the body. Even though it's a very popular concept, there's no such thing as freedom of the body because the body has limits. My body can't go through the wall. My body has a limited amount of time of being on earth, and after my last birthday, not much longer. But I don't have as many years ahead of me as I got behind me if things work out normally. I'm not saying it might not have been a wheel, but You know, I just know I'm more focused on my spiritual development than ever before. Somehow now it has a little bit more urgency. I'm counting on God being forgiven. Especially for the 90s, I'll tell you. Better not be no sin. All right. So the Course says if you offer love, love will come to you because love is drawn to itself. So love is drawn to love, fear is drawn to fear. Fearful people attract fearful people, guilty people attract guilty people, loving people attract loving people, conscious people attract conscious people. But if you're a conscious person, think you're attracting an unconscious person, you're unconscious. You're just fooling yourself about being conscious. And they're letting you know you're not as conscious as you think you are. Okay, if you want to know where your ego personality's level of consciousness is, it's the people and situations and circumstances you're attracted to. Those are the people who reflect your level of consciousness more than who you think you are. So who you're turned on by says a lot about your consciousness, no matter how much truth you're talking. There should be a congruency between your day-to-day personality and what you say your spiritual ideals are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, if I'm saying I'm all about consciousness and I'm all about love and I'm all about truth and I'm all about acceptance, but I'm always attracted to people who abandon me, attack me, and condemn me and never support me, then the truth is that's my perception of myself at a subconscious level and I don't know it. And they are showing me what I really think about myself as opposed to what I'm saying. Pay attention to your surroundings and the people in your personal environment. That'll tell you a lot about where you are. Don't get depressed by that. Some people, that's a depressing thought, and some people are be like going, well, shoot, I must be more together than I thought. Because I'm attracted to a lot of cool people in my life.
You're right.
Yeah, it's like the birthday wishes and things that I got yesterday. It's funny. I got a lot of incredible. My birthday was just what the Course would say. My continuation, celebration of my continuation. Happened yesterday.
I love that.
And the Course in Miracles says that your birthday celebration is supposed to be basically a celebration of your creation, which I thought was really cool. And so I got a lot, I got a whole lot of Facebook friends that I don't know. And that's why they're still my Facebook friends. So I found out, so it was great because most of the people that were wishing me the best didn't know me personally. That makes sense too. And so, and not that I'm putting myself down, I'm just telling you that usually the people that you have the biggest challenges with are not the ones who don't know you, it's the ones that do. It's not the ones that are personal love relationships, it's the people you have personal love relationships with, And, but that felt really good that I existed in a world where many people would be sending me heartfelt, really great wishes that I didn't even know. Because that's where it should be. We should be sending each other love whether we know each other or not, right? And then the people I do know are also doing the same thing. So I realized that at some level I must love myself more than I think I do. Because I'm always looking at my stuff, it's like you're looking at yours. Like I always tell people, if you can see me, I'm still learning, just like you are. It's just that the only difference between us is I may be more willing to follow the instructions now. But you might still be debating whether or not you should follow the instructions that Spirit is giving you. I'm like, I surrender. What are you telling me to do? Let me see if I can do that as fast as possible.
Exactly.
And the Course says that God's plan for your happiness is simply this, that you start asking God. I thought that was deep. What's God's plan? Did you freaking start asking God what to do? Because I thought God's plan was like, that means that I'm supposed to be the president of such and such a company, and then I'm supposed to go overseas and work with the poor people. And it's like the Course is saying, no, God's plan is that you get to the point that you ask Infinite, the Infinite being what to do. That's the plan. That I start listening to my higher self. That I start listening to the power that created me. That's the plan. And then it says, well, how can you tell when you're not listening to the plan? Well, you feel confused and miserable and unhappy. So which plan hasn't worked your whole life? Yours. So you can tell which plans you made up, the ones you think that didn't work. You can tell when you're not listening to the truth, about how much peace you have or don't have. You can tell when you're in charge. So based on that, I know when I'm not listening to Spirit and when I am listening to Spirit. The Course in Miracles says that when you feel in fear, it just means you're dependent on your own strength separate from Source. So it's easy for me to tell when I think that I've got to handle this problem by myself and when I think I've got to handle it with Spirit. If I'm afraid, then I know I'm thinking I'm on my own trying to handle it. And if I feel peace, then I feel like I'm supported in some way. It's not complicated. What I would invite you to do is let go of this idea that the truth is complicated. It is not complicated. It's very simple. Like, for instance, if love is sharing, how can you find it except sharing? Mm-hmm. What's complicated about that? Or offer it and it will come to you, but it's going to be drawn to itself. So if I offer abundance, abundance will come to me because abundance is drawn to myself. I have to stop being a future giver of America. The person who's going to give after they receive. As soon as I get, I'm going to be the most giving person around. It's just the opposite. If I want to receive, I need to start giving right now. So when I think I'm most challenged in a financial way, it's when I share the most. Because I obviously believe I'm lacking. And abundance is our natural state. It's our natural state. But why don't I experience it? Because of what you've been taught and what you believe and what you're telling yourself. That's why you're not experiencing it. What you mean? You know exactly what I mean. Right? And so the Course says, but offer attack and love will remain hidden because love can only live in peace. So if I'm attacking, I won't see the love in my life. Now, a lot of people say I'm not attacking, but I don't see the love in my life. And that would say, so that would seem to be untrue, that love will remain hidden if I'm offering attack. But it's not, because many people attack themselves all day. So they'll say, I'm not attacking anyone else, but they're criticizing themselves, and they're judging themselves, and they're putting themselves down, or they're walking around being afraid of being attacked. And so people who are afraid of being attacked, the Course in Miracles said they're just as full of thoughts of attack as a person who attacks. Because your focus is still on the idea of attack, whether it's you being attacked, or whether or not it's you attacking someone else. So if you're a person that's constantly afraid of being attacked, you may be a person who doesn't see a lot of love in the world. So if you're a very defensive person, you may miss the love that's around you because you're afraid of being attacked all the time or being hurt all the time. So people who are afraid of being hurt tend not to see the love that surrounds them. And so they think it's not there. Before I go to the next paragraph, any comments or questions about that paragraph? Yes.
There comes a point that you start downloading so much of it that you're seeing the whole old paradigm, download, like all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, look at all that programming, holy crap, and then, so during those moments, which I'm having a shitload of those, you don't want to be manifesting everything back out into the world, right? That's happening. So the only thing that I've been doing lately is just surrendering it all over to Spirit and just watching it unravel and going, wow. That was some crazy programming. And I don't know if you have any advice on, as you start to unravel more and more, how to handle all of that witnessing, the best way to.
Well, the easiest way for me to handle all that witnessing and things that are coming up is to keep reminding myself that I created it, I'm not a victim of it, that I'm responsible for it.
Yeah, I got all that.
And that I'm grateful to. Well, then you just keep doing it.
Okay.
It's not about getting new information. It's about using the information that you got over and over and over again in every situation. One of the tricks on the spiritual path is to be constantly looking for new information all the time. And the trick is to recognize the truth works in every situation and just start applying it consistently in every situation, as opposed to trying to come up with something different in every situation. Now, if you want the shortcut, which is the shortcut, is that all problems are a sense of separation from God. That's bottom line. Now, everything that everybody goes through is to ultimately get them to the point that they turn within and want to heal their relationship with Source. I'll say it again. All the problems that everybody's going through, no matter what they're going through in their perception in their life, is ultimately bring them to the point that they do exactly what you just got through saying, which is to surrender to your relationship, to your Source. That you didn't create yourself. There is a higher intelligence within you and around you that's greater than your ego. And at some point, you'll get to the point that you want to listen to the guidance of the part of you that really loves you, as opposed to the part of you that doesn't know what's going on and is trying to figure it out on its own. That's what's going to happen to everybody eventually. Now, some people's tolerance for pain is much greater than others. Some people don't love themselves, so that the minute the answer comes their way, they go unconscious. The minute you start telling them the truth, then they go to sleep, or they go unconscious, and they can't stay conscious because they're not ready yet to be out of the problem that they're going through and the punishment that it gives them. So when you're not ready to get out of pain, then when anyone brings you any solution to your pain, then you go unconscious and you don't listen and you don't do anything you're being told to do. That's because at some point you haven't gotten enough of your suffering yet, and the mind has decided that it's through suffering that it's going to get the situation corrected. Because many of us have learned that punishment is correction. So if you get punished, then you now the slate's clean and you can go back and do what you were doing. That's the way it was when I was a kid. Did something wrong, got a spanking by my mother, me and my mother were okay. Anybody familiar with that paradigm? You do something wrong, you get punished for it, then you're okay, right? And I can remember dreading what I had just done. And then waiting, it's really the worst when you're like left, that your older brother and sister, they babysitting you and you do something really crazy. And then you know when your mom's gonna come home that you're gonna get it. And then you have that torture waiting. And then, especially if you're in the bed, I remember being a kid, like you're just waiting for it. You know, so we learned that punishment is correction. And when I got my spanking, me and mom, slate was clean. It was cool. So what happens as we get older is we become our own mom and dad. We punish ourselves because we don't have a parent to do it. And we punish it through our relationships. Whether it's my relationship to money, my relationship to my job, my relationship to my health, my relationship to life. So I'll spank myself through my relationship. And then we call it 50 Shades of Grey. Then I'll spank myself through my financial situation by being broke all the time. I'll spank myself through my love life by always having relationships that cause me problems. But I don't realize I'm doing that because I'm still acting out the punishment correction syndrome that I learned. Does that make sense to everybody? So one of the things that's great to move forward is to recognize that most of your thoughts are not conscious, most of your thoughts are unconscious.
Right.
That your thoughts are sort of like the iceberg, where there's a little bit above the water and then there's a lot more under the water. So when you tell yourself you know what you're thinking, you're really fooling yourself. You don't know what you're thinking. You just know the part, that course says, you just know the part of your mind that you're focusing on in that moment. And then you'll say that's the way you think. And then you notice an hour later you feel completely different. Well, now you're focusing on a different set of thoughts in your own mind. So you're only aware of the top portion of your mind at any given time. Just the current focus you got right now. You say, well, that's the way I think. I know what I believe. And the course is saying, no, the problem is you don't know what you believe. And that you have a lot of beliefs that you're not aware of. And those beliefs are still manifesting in your life because your unawareness does not affect the fact that they affect your perception. You see what I'm saying? So a relationship, in any relationship, friendships or any kind of relationships, have the purpose of getting you in touch with all of your mind and not just the part that you are siding with. So what I want to be aware of is how my whole mind is operating. So how do I want to know how my whole mind, well, everything that's happening in the physical world represents some segment of my own mind, according to the truth. So everything happening in the world is a reflection of my mind, not just what I think being a reflection of my mind. I'm capable of the kind of actions that anybody's capable of. I'm just choosing not to do it. I'm capable of murder. I choose not to. I'm capable of robbing. I choose not to. But do I have those thoughts? Do I ever have murderous thoughts? Do I ever have angry thoughts? Do I ever have attack thoughts? Of course I do. Of course I do. So while I'm condemning other people who have attack thoughts, I'm not really being honest about myself. Because I have attack thoughts too. And do I have insane beliefs? Yes, I have some insane beliefs. So when I see someone else acting out their insane beliefs, then they're not doing anything other than having the same kind of thoughts I have, but they're choosing to act on those thoughts, and I'm choosing not to act on those thoughts. So you draw people into your life that cause you pain faster by denying that you have the corresponding thought in your own mind, but you're just choosing not to use it. So the person who claims they would never attack, they would never hurt, then that's the person who's most likely to attract someone who shows them they're not telling the truth about that. The person who says, you know what, there's a crazy part of me that's a nut. Okay? and since I'm willing to admit that it's true, and there's no need for me to have a person show up in my life to trigger that in me, to show me that I'm capable of that kind of anger and insanity. Because I'm already admitting I got that kind of anger and insanity, and I'm asking Spirit, what should I do? How should I look at it? Give me another way of relating to it. I'm not spending my time denying it. Oh, I would never be jealous. Okay, sure. Then you're going to walk right up on the person that's going to get you in touch with jealousy like you've never seen before. You're claiming that you're beyond it.
Right.
That all that really means is the other person ain't special enough. That's all it is. They're not quite special enough to trigger you. But you get jealous. Why? Because you see jealous people around you, and you're attracting a person that's jealous. So it's ludicrous to say you're beyond jealousy and you can't be jealous. And what are you attracting a person that's insecure enough to be jealous? But they're trying to make you aware that you do have some fear in you that needs to be released. Everybody with me on this?
Yeah.
So this class is not for people who want to pretend they're where they are, but they're not there yet. This class is for people who are willing to admit they have some things in themselves that they want to change, that they want to see differently. So I'm real clear. It's not a positive thinking class. This isn't a class about pretending that you are where you're not yet in your perception. It's not about that. The Course in Miracles is about shadow work. It's about getting in touch with unconscious ideas and beliefs that you don't know you have. So therefore, most of the stuff that you hear, you could be tempted to say, that's not true about me. You know, okay? And what you want to do is, you've done enough work on your conscious mind where you feel like, you know, so I'm pretty much getting my thoughts, creating my reality, and I need to change my perception in order to have a different life. And I've been working with my conscious beliefs about myself. Now I'm ready to deal with the unconscious ideas I have, my unconscious guilt, my unconscious fear, my unconscious anger. I'm ready for the stuff I'm not obviously aware of to be healed. And then you attract a book like The Course in Miracles so that you can have a clear mind from top to bottom instead of a clear mind just at the top, and at the bottom is still full of insanity because you're not aware of it. But then that insanity is coming back to you as your physical world, and then you feel like you're a victim of it because you think you're so different from the world you live in. Do you see what I'm saying? You know, like I like to use the dirty pail analogy. You know, you put a lot of water in a pail with dirt at the bottom. The dirt gets stirred up, the whole pail looks muddy. And so the temptation is, because the pail looks muddy, to, well, just cut the water off, let the dirt settle back down to the bottom, and the water is clear again. And that's what happens on the spiritual path. People get on the spiritual path and go, hey, I'm ready to be more loving, I'm ready to get in touch with my innocence, I'm ready to get in touch with my power, I'm ready to have the love I deserve. And so spirit starts pouring that water into their dirty pail. And then all of a sudden, all that unconscious, subconscious guilt and fear that you have starts to come up. And then you think, oh my God, I got into this true stuff, and now my life is worse than ever. Now I'm seeing more than I ever saw. Now I feel worse than I ever did before. I feel depressed. Yeah, the dirty pail. The dirty pail. All your thoughts that you have had hidden are coming up for you to look at. So what do? Well, what most people do is they stop doing the truth. They stop coming to the class, they stop reading, they stop focusing on any of those things because they think that's what's causing the problem. So they back off. The dirt of their thoughts settle back down, and it look like they go, oh, boy, I got out of that Course in Miracles, and now things are going better for me. That dirt's back down at the bottom of my pail. Now everything is cool, right? But you're still dealing with the same stuff again. But you'll say the course didn't work, right? Now then, there's another group of people that are listening what the truth says. That says they are going to go to have stuff come up. And they go, okay, I must really be doing the work because the pail is muddy, because I'm feeling all the feelings that I've never been willing to feel before. And what do? They said turn up the hose. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm studying more. Like right now I'm in a big transition within myself that's greater than any transition I've ever gone through ever. And so the temptation a lot of time is I see my dirty pail come up, which is more like a dirty tub. Then it comes up, and I've been on this path long enough to know, okay, this means I need the truth more than ever. That I don't need to back off more than ever. I need to study more than ever. I need to meditate more than ever. I need to be around people who are telling me the truth more than ever. Because I'm going to turn the hose up. Okay, so you turn the hose up in the dirty pail. What happens? Eventually, the dirty water does what? Come up over the top. And then if you keep pouring it in, the whole pail is full of clear water. And now you don't have any subconscious fearful, angry thoughts or conscious fearful, angry thoughts. And then you enter what the Course calls the real world, which is a world that's full of love for you, that you see only peace in, because you're clear now. See, another term for the Holy Spirit is my clear mind. And I love that. And my ego is my unclear mind. But the Holy Spirit is my clear mind. It's the part of me that sees the love that I am and the love that you are. Does that make sense to everybody? So some of you may be at a point in your personal life right now that you got the dirty pail thing going big in some area right now. And the temptation is to back off the truth and back off your study and get lost back into the stuff that you used to do that you thought made you happy when you did it.
But you can't do it anymore once you see it, honey.
But if you haven't seen it, you can go back and do it again. So that's what I'm saying. If you don't see the truth, then you're going to tell yourself, I did feel better before. You know, like I always say, when people have a relationship in and all they want to do is go back to the person they were with, it just means that they haven't enjoyed themselves more without them. If you had left that relationship and the next one was something even better, or you were experiencing even more joy, you wouldn't be giving the last relationship a second thought. The reason why you yearn for the past is because you're not in the present, and you're not allowing yourself to experience the joy that the present offers. You know, so what you're doing is going back.
Right.
You know, and so if you ever broke up with somebody and they're making no effort to contact you, they're happier without you. Whatever their situation is right now is more peaceful without you, right? I mean, it's not an insult; it's just the truth. Yeah. And if their situation isn't better, then they're prone to call you back and say, "Can we kind of get back together? Can we kind of hook up again? Can we?" So a person that's present and really being present and sharing the love that they want to receive, they're receiving the love. So they're so busy enjoying what's present that they don't have time to think about the past, and they don't have time to think about the future, because it's so much of a feast right in front of their face right now. So if you're zeroing in on the past all the time and you're zeroing in on the future all the time, that's just a trick to keep you from focusing on the opportunities that's right in front of your face right now. Why? Because if you focused on the opportunities and the truth that's right in front of your face right now, you'd be happy. But a no good son of a gun that's worthless don't deserve to be happy. So a person who doesn't believe that they're worthy will never be present. They'll always have to be past oriented and future oriented, because they would mess around and have a good time if they were ever present. But if I don't think I deserve to have a good time, I'm never going to be present to what's happening in my life right now. So when I'm dwelling on the past or the future, instead of trying to figure out what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future, I try to remind myself that I'm trying to trick myself into not paying attention to the blessings that are in my life right now. And then I go into a gratitude place. What is it I need to be grateful for that's happening in my life right now? That's how you get out that stuck pattern. Not by, what is it I'm going to change about my future? What is it about my past I need to analyze? No, you tell yourself, my focus on my past and my focus on my future is a trick to keep me from focusing on the present, which is where my happiness is, because a part of me doesn't think I deserve to be happy. And since I don't think I deserve to be happy, I won't be present. And I won't be around people who care about me. I will not give them my attention at all, because I don't love myself. If I love myself, then I'm in a gratitude place and focusing in on what's happening right now as much as I possibly can. Again, is that complicated? No, the truth isn't complicated. The Course teaches complexity is nothing but a smokescreen to hide the simplicity of everything. Because if I want to suffer, I got to make it complex. Because if it's complex, I can't do nothing about it. If I have complex problems, I can't do nothing about them. You know, but if it's simple, I could do something, but I don't want to do nothing. So let me make it complex. And so now I'm the most complex person in the world with all of my complex problems. You know, you go to the psychiatrist, he go, let me get a team. I can get about 7 more for you, you know. And you be so special. I told you I was hopeless. You know, like the Course said, you know, God doesn't see your problems as real. You know, would you really want the infinite creator of the universe to go, Earl's really got a problem. I don't know what to do about it. You know, and that's what we want to believe. We want to believe what we're going through is beyond what anybody could go through. And that's my desire to be special. That's what I call negative special. I'm either going to be special because I'm the coolest person in the room, or I'm going to be special because I'm the one that's the most pitiful. If I go to the party and everybody's having a great time and I want to be the special one, then I'll be the one sitting in the corner sulking, not talking to anybody. Because if I'm sitting in the corner not sulking and everybody else is having a good time, I've increased the possibility that somebody's going to walk over me and go, oh, what's wrong? What's going on? You know, you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's all about specialness. As weird as it may seem, a part of what happened in Connecticut was about specialness. Yeah. It was about that person wanting to be remembered for one reason or another. I didn't feel significant. You know, there's like 6 basic human needs, and one of them is to feel significant. You know, people want to feel special. They want to feel significant. They want to be noticed. They want to stand out. Even if I do it through negative attention, I want to stand out. You know. So let me pass this around. The contact list. If you haven't signed it, please do. So I'm on your side. You had your hand up a second ago.
Oh yeah. So I've been seeing a lot of posts on Facebook about the event in Connecticut, and I see a lot of like, we must eradicate evil, you know, kind of stuff, and it's, I don't know, what's your view on that? Because it's, I mean, or this person belongs to go to hell. My view is more frightening than what happened in Connecticut. Okay, to people who wouldn't understand my view. I feel like this. Yeah.
I feel like, just what I said earlier,
right.
You should go within, ask your own inner guidance, how to look at it, and then act accordingly from a place of peace and love. I don't believe you can prescribe behavior.
Right.
So the way that I would handle it is, I would not be the kind of person who would do it. That I would try to be as loving and peaceful as I can be in my day-to-day life. That I would try to be a living example of the kind of energy I would want to meet, because I can only be responsible for my own actions ultimately.
Right.
So that's how I would look at it. How can I be more loving? How can I be more sane? And would try not to judge the situation, because I really don't know anything. I don't really know anything. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what anybody. So I don't know. All I know is I would like to try to be a more sane, loving being myself. That's it. You know.
Right.
I could give you a lot of metaphysical, spiritual perceptions, even from the Course in Miracles of. Well, like you, for instance, you took the very first sentence in this section when it says, "Do you really believe you can kill the Son of God?"
Right.
Do you really believe? Okay, that's true about the kids too. Do you really believe you can kill an unlimited being? So really, what I'm going to do for those kids is not see them as bodies that died. I'm going to see those kids as unlimited spiritual beings who dropped their bodies. Because that, but if for no other reason, that's more peaceful than thinking that there was just a bunch of helpless kids at the mercy of a maniac who came in and killed them. Why? Because nobody wins in that scenario. Because you can't control a scenario like that. There is not enough gun control or anything else you can come up with that could ever keep that from happening again. Right. Period. So it's a total illusion to think that it's going to be prevented by an exterior act.
Right.
It's going to be prevented by an interior act. You know, and that's ultimately it. And again, things like that drive people to go within. Now, do you shoot out as much compassion and love as you possibly can to the people that are involved and their families? Of course you do. Of course you do. But everybody's seeing it. So many people are already seeing it from the perspective of them being a victim and seeing it from the perspective of them just being bodies that died. What those parents need is somebody who remembers the infinite truth about their child as being an unlimited soul and spiritual being that still exists and still lives on. Right. That's what the kids are rooting for. The kids are rooting for, oh, I would love my mother and father and sister and brother to know the truth, which is I am not dead. Right. That I'm a being with eternal life.
Omnipresent, right.
That I'm still present. You just don't see me because I'm no longer in a body. People on the other side need people on this side to realize the truth. Because the people on this side are so unconscious and so blind and been taught so many things that's not true that we've forgotten who we really are. And so we're buying into all this stuff we've been taught about being limited physical beings with a limited amount of life who are victims of everything.
Right.
You know, and so we're here to remember for everybody that that's not true, which I'll do as soon as I get my Excel bill paid. Right? Because most people are just completely self-absorbed with their own personal issues. And they tell themselves, when I get my personal experience together, then I'll be ready to do my higher spiritual work and make a contribution. That's why your first responsibility is to allow yourself to experience the love and prosperity that's your divine right. Because you cannot give to people what you don't have. So somebody with nothing is going to think they have nothing to give. So you're not being selfish when you choose to do what's going to make you really feel happy and whole and complete. Because at that point, you got something to offer. So people who believe it's all about taking care of everybody else before they allow themselves to know their power, they're not helping anybody. The person who can help me is the person that has something to give. The person who can help me is the one that has nothing to give, but they're saying they wish they did. You see what I'm saying? So your first responsibility is to allow yourself to receive the love that you know you deserve to have, and the abundance you deserve to have, and the awareness you deserve to have. Then you got something to give to somebody. Then you can help somebody that thinks they're starving if that's what your inner self says you should do. Now I've heard people say stuff like, that's just an illusion. Right, you know what I'm saying? But I don't see people in here going without food for a week and saying it's just an illusion because they're studying spiritual truth. So there's not an illusion for you to need to eat in the next 48 hours. It's not an illusion for somebody else to need to eat in the next 48 hours at this level of consciousness. At this level of consciousness. Y'all follow what I'm saying? So be aware when you throw out that that's not real, this is just an illusion. Understand the context that you're meaning that in. Because the truth is, if you think you need water, then so do other people who are on the same level think they need water too. If you think you like to be on the desert and you need water and you have somebody walk up to you and say, oh, that's just an illusion. Okay? then when you need something and people don't come to your assistance, understand you created that through your own attitude. You're literally meeting your own attitude. Your attitude is nobody else's stuff is real. Well, then you create a world where no one sees the things that you're going through is real. If you could really be okay with that, then keep looking at it like it's just an illusion, so therefore I'm not going to do anything in the outer. Keep on looking at it that way. If you really can sit up there and honestly say, if you broke your leg, you want somebody to go, oh, that's just an illusionary leg. Let's go and party, y'all. And leave you in the gutter. Because I see so many truth students do that stuff. They'll look at everybody else's stuff and go, oh, that's not real. Ultimately, it isn't. But at the level we're on, you know what I'm saying? If I had a stomach ache last night for a minute, I didn't see nobody else grabbing their stomach. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we go through is real to us. So what did I do? I immediately wanted to hear the truth in that situation because I knew the purpose of it was to make me think I was a body, to make me think I was limited, to make me forget that I'm an unlimited spiritual being. That's why my stomach was hurting. To make me identify with my body as being my entire identity. That's what all pain is. It's just in pleasure too, by the way. Pleasure is just as much a smoke screen to make you forget who you are as pain is. Ooh, it hurts. Oh, I must be this body. Oh, God, that must be. And then, oh, that feels so good. So I must be the body too. So pleasure is just as much a way to make you forget who you are if you don't see it correctly as pain is. But the problem is, pleasure is a better deceiver. Because pleasure, you want to go toward. Pain will make you go, I think I want to reassess this. Pleasure goes, give me more deception. I want some really good deception tonight, baby. You know what I'm saying? So it could be used to wake you up. You could say, let the pleasure that I'm experiencing right now be used to wake me up to who I really am and help me remember that I'm the holy child of God. So I'm not anti-pleasure. It's about what are you using it for and how are you seeing it that determines the outcome. So if you walk out of here today and you tell yourself, number one, I'm an unlimited spiritual being. So no matter what I think about myself, it doesn't change the fact that I deserve love and that I am loved. If you walk out of here today and realize that if I attack what I say I want and judge what I say I want, then I'll never see it. So if I'm condemning and attacking people with prosperity and abundance and wealth, then I'll never see it. It's like we say in the hood, if you're a hater. As soon as you see somebody that's doing really good, then you find some reason to criticize that. Okay? The other thing that we heard is that if love is sharing, then I need to start sharing what it is I want to experience. So where do I start? Where do I start? I start with the people that I'm in a special relationship with right now. I start with the people I'm in a personal relationship with right now. I start with the people that I say mean the most to me right now. That's where I start. So I'm going to start sharing with the people that I claim already I care about. So that should be the easiest place, actually, right? If I say I love you and I'm in a personal relationship with you, then being kind to you, grateful to you, loving to you should be the easiest thing to do. But when I hear people go, oh, that's so hard, then I'm wondering, why are you surrounded by so many people you don't want to give no love to? Why are you surrounded by so many people that the idea of being kind to is rough for you? Or the idea of being forgiving? It's like, what's wrong with you? You know? Right. You
Yeah,
took me
right.
just the opposite. Oh, Earl, you just told me the easy path. You telling me to love a husband I already love. You telling me to love a child I already love. You telling me to love a job I already love. You see what I'm saying? So it's hard to love what you don't love. And some people think that spiritual progress is focusing all your attention on who you don't love to try to force yourself to love. And not giving any attention to the people you already care about. So the people you already care about don't get any attention, and the only people that get the attention is the people you think you need to heal with. So then that basically means all your attention is focused into who you don't get along with. And then you wonder why you're depressed. Right, you're not spending any time with the people that you love, you're spending time with the people that you think you need to learn how to love. But why don't you work it this way? There's so much love in you and there's so much joy in you because you're focusing on what you do love, that the love in you is overflowing to the point that it just overflows into the people that you think you have challenges with. Because a happy person is a forgiving person. Somebody that's really, really happy, they don't have time to hold a grievance about what their daddy did when they was 10 years old. Because they're too happy. A person who's loving and happy in this moment is not trying to figure out what to deal with the ex-husband. Because they're happy. So they don't even want that problem. They don't even want to focus on it. They go, honey, I'm letting go of what I think you did and what I think, what you did to me and what I think I did to you. You just forget it, everything's cool, everything's all right. Because my life is all right. So I don't even have time to deal with that. So who is it that can't deal with that? Somebody that's not happy. Somebody that's not feeling any joy. That's who's holding the grievance. The person who's miserable themselves on the inside. And so they're trying to distract themselves from their own feelings about themselves by focusing on the person that they think they need to spend all their time trying to forgive. And who you really need to forgive is yourself. What do I mean by forgive yourself? What do I mean when I say forgive yourself? I'm talking about you need to correctly perceive yourself. Let go of the blocks that you have against yourself. Recognizing that you are still loving and lovable no matter what you think about yourself. And that's the truth of your being. That's who you really are. So could you acknowledge yourself for hearing this message today? Hope to give it to you. It's not for me. This is for you. I'd like you to acknowledge yourself one more time, but with this thought. Think about this for a minute. What you share is what the world shares with you. What you want to receive is what you give. How you feel about yourself is how the world relates to you. So if I want acknowledgement in my world, then I should start to learn to go through the discomfort of self-acknowledgement. Because for most people, it's easier to acknowledge somebody else than themselves. The golden rule should be something like, I hope that I can do unto myself as much as I do unto others. Because in most cases, people treat other people better than they do themselves, if they be honest. They'll let go of the judgment on somebody else and still judge themselves. They'll be criticizing somebody else and not criticizing somebody else and still be hard on themselves. So most of us need to start treating ourselves as well as we treat everybody else. That would be the most accurate way to deal with that. So I would invite you, one more time, if you like, to acknowledge yourself. How about that? See the difference? Can you feel the difference in the energy in the room? And an energy like that creates. An energy like that creates. Okay? So let's do the financial expression of appreciation. Thank you. I'm a full-time teacher of the course, and I do it on a donation. I hate that word. I'm going to do it on a donation basis. Because I'm sharing. It's like, oh, I'm just doing it to him and he's not doing anything. You know. I'm standing up here teaching, doggone it. I'm doing something. All of a sudden I realized that. Because that's kind of what you do. It's like, I'm going to do charity. He isn't doing anything, but I'm going to share with him. Fortunately, I'm sustained by the love of God, too. So thank you so much for what you share with me. I appreciate that.
How about love offering?
You know, I'm over that too. Yeah. I got plenty of love. See, I want to change my perception of abundance and finances also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there seems to be this misperception that somehow abundance is outside of a spiritual context.
Right.
That abundance is something that doesn't go with spirituality. So we have this programming that if you're going to try to be spiritual, it means you should not allow yourself to have any of the abundance of the world. And that's an old time, old paradigm, not a helpful thought or idea. Because what that does is that tells you that you should be willing to accept money through what you don't love to do.
Right.
And then everything you do love to do is not something you can allow yourself to be supported in. You see people do that all the time. They really want to be an artist, but they have a program in that artists starve.
Right.
So therefore I've got to go do something else that I don't really love to do rather than receive through my art. You follow what I'm saying? The programming of it's that you can't have both. That you can't be following your inspiration and also have the natural state of abundance that goes through that. So I'm here to also blow that one out. Okay? You all deserve to receive to what you love to do and what you aspire to do. And even I'll take it a step further, that's even harder to accept. That you deserve to receive, period. Whether you're thinking you're doing anything to earn it, too. That's also an outmoded paradigm. That you got to earn it or pay for it to have it. That is not true. That is not true. You don't have to earn or pay to be abundant. It is possible to be given. It is possible to, I received some gifts that I just received, right? Somebody said, I got a gift for you. So it's possible to receive gifts.
Your nature is abundant.
Our nature is abundant, but I have blocks to that awareness. And I want to remove those blocks. Are you open to that?
Yes, remove that.
Okay, so the purpose of my class is to support that idea and remind you of that.
Can we sing happy birthday to you?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Earl. Happy birthday to you.
I accept it, 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 I receive it, I accept it, I receive it, I accept it, I accept it, I accept it, I receive it, I receive it, I accept it, I accept it, I accept it. You don't deserve it, I accept it, I accept it. You know, people say that in the voice that doesn't believe that, it will come up. Just try.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the most innocent person in the world. I know what you did prom night. You know what I'm saying? That voice right there, you know.
Dark voice.
Yeah. Sheila, is there anything that you want to make anybody aware of?
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to each and every person.
Yeah.
Sunday morning at 11 o'clock is our 12 hours camp.